lot of pressure. You got to rise above it. You got to harness in the good energy, block out the bad. Harness, energy, block, bad. Feel the flow happy. Feel it. It's circular. It's like a carousel. You pay the quarter, you get on the horse. It goes up and down and around. Circular, circle, with the music, the flow. All good things.
Yeah, all right. Well, great. Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you, man.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. The seeds bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here.
Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we're introducing you to Matt Klein, the franchise brand developer for OxyFresh. He just had a baby, and so he's sore. He's tired. He's not sleeping well. He just had a baby. It's a medical marvel, and we'll talk to him about it on today's show, as well as how to develop a sustainable rhythm to grow and scale your business. Matt Klein, how's the life since the birth?
Well, first 2 weeks, I didn't sleep a lot. Sleep a little better now, so everything's good. Back to normal, pretty much. So.
Now, I got to ask you this because it ties into what we're talking about today. You know, being self-employed and being specifically an OxyFresh franchise owner, you have a routine or a cadence that you get into every day. And that rhythm or that routine is what really holds the business together. I mean, people go to oxyfresh.com, they look at the brand, they go, wow, this is one of the highest rated carpet cleaning. It actually is the highest rated carpet cleaning franchise in America. People all over the country, they find you in the search results. They do a search for carpet cleaning quotes. And you guys, I mean, are a market leader. You get a lot of business, but if you didn't have some sort of rhythm, I don't want to use the word ritual, but some kind of routine, really the whole thing would fall apart. Tell us about the rhythm needed to run a successful OxyFresh.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for your business and your daily activities to get completed and your employees to be able to count on you to have some sort of rhythm where your business flows, right? If every single day is chaotic, and you don't know what you're trying to get done, and you don't know how to complete them, you don't prioritize them in a manner that's going to actually get them done that day, then it's really hard to have some consistency. It's like anything else. It's like, if you like working out, you should probably build it into your day. If you want to hang out with family, you should build it into your day. If you want to be successful at your business, you got to build in the tasks that will allow you to be successful and make sure you do them every day. So, I think any successful person, really successful, they'll have some sort of organization to their day. If you go in every day and have no freaking clue, it's going to be hard to really replicate what's going on.
So with OxyFresh, you run the OxyFresh locations that you own, but you also award and help to award the franchisees, the people that want to buy a franchise. Let's get into the more of the specifics. So what does it look like on a daily basis for you on, let's say, a Monday or a Tuesday, or what kind of involvement is needed from you for your OxyFresh franchise to be successful?
Yeah, I certainly always need to touch base with my employees, see what's going on, see how their weekend went, see what everybody got in store, what some of their goals are for today, right? We got very specific goals where it's upsells or getting reviews or what have you, to make sure that, these guys are getting the best out of their day so they can make more money. If you kind of guide them along, they will be better at their job. They will make more money. They'll have less complaints and they'll stick around for a really long time. Right. So that's one part. The other one is I evaluate my areas, my Google pages, and see where I'm ranking, if I'm falling, if I'm going higher, like where I stand. Right. I'm in a highly competitive market. So even though I might be doing good, there could be other companies that are doing better. So I got to make sure to maintain a high level of reviews. And like, for instance, I have one area that was not, that was kind of slipping just because we didn't do a lot of jobs there in a given seven-day period. And so I got all of my guys to pay way attention. We got like 12 reviews in 72 hours in that one page, and it kicked us back up. Right. So it's understanding where I stand marketing, understanding what some of the daily activities that I can pass on to my employees to actually have an impact so that we don't slip. There's also things in terms of just, understanding my bank balance, where I'm going, what some of my costs are going to be, so I can manage, where my bonus structures go, how I pay myself. Like, there's just always things that you can do for your business to be, worked on. And then obviously I have my job and I have other things that I'm doing. So it all has to work in tandem, right? I have to prioritize everything so that it all gets done. But again, it's just having like my schedule. My calls are on my schedule typically before my day starts. So I know when I can take those calls. I know they're going to happen, and I know when I can work on my business. I'll text my guys in the morning. I'm going to call you at 9:15, or I'm going to call you at 1:30, right? So be available so they know what to do.
Now, Matt, on part 2 of today's show, we're going to interview a longtime client who's a cabinet builder, and his schedule seems very similar to your schedule, although you guys are in different industries. So I'm going to recap these items because it may seem routine for somebody out there. It may seem basic, but this is some profound stuff. So number one, you've got to have that daily huddle with your staff. And I just see so many business owners that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's they don't like their staff. I don't know if they feel overwhelmed. I don't know what it is, but it seems like the last thing they ever do is huddle with their staff. Why do you have to huddle with your staff on a daily basis?
Well, I mean, if you want to have your thumb on the pulse of your business, your employees, their temperament, right, either good or bad, you have to spend time, right? If you just let them go out and do their thing every single day without any type of communication with you, they're going to build their own expectations, and I guarantee you they're going to be less than what you think they should be, right? Like, you as the owner need to set the bar as to what you want to get completed. If you just let them do their own thing, and they can justify working half as hard or half as long, then they'll do it, right? Because you haven't said it. And it's not even their fault, by the way. Like, if they don't have aspirations in that day that you have built in for them, they're going to be mediocre. There's very few people that are going to just self-correct at any level of employment. Owners of the companies need to self-correct and do that for their employees as well.
Now, one thing I noticed that you do this every day. I do it every day. I know on part 2 of today's show, our guest, Holman Cabinets, he does it every day, is search engine evaluation. I mean, this is a big thing. This is a big thing. This is a big thing. So one of my clients, longtime clients, it's called a Koloff Fitness. You go to Google, you type in Joplin Gyms. He does it every morning. He's got 11,000 reviews. His closest competitor has 141. He does it every single day. Every day he's checking those reviews every day, and he is obsessive about it. Again, a little bit redundant, but I think people need to hear it. Every day he does this. So why is it an everyday thing? I think a lot of people think I'm going to brush my teeth every day and check in with my business once a quarter. Can you talk to us about why you have to check that Google rank every day?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy in the beginning when you know where you need to be, right? And then a lot of companies, once they get some form of progress on their Google pages, or they start to rank, then they'll just stop, right? Because they feel like they've gotten to the top, they've gotten to where they need to be. But just like that example you just put there, his consistency on those reviews makes it to where there will never be a close second. He has outperformed his competition in a manner where they have given up, and they will give up. Shit, I would give up on that, right? If I had to get 11,000 reviews, I would. I'd be like, all right, maybe I should choose a different area, because they've created an environment that's too hard to catch up with. Because it's not necessarily about what you're doing every day. It's what you're doing every day in comparison to your competition, right? If you got a guy that's getting 50 reviews a day and you're getting 3, they're going to bury you pretty easily. But if you flip that coin and you're the one getting 50 reviews a day, I'm just taking a number, for instance, and your competitors, what you're doing is you're making your business so much better than everyone else. To the eye, the consumer has to use you because they feel like they're using a worse company if they don't, right? And so if you want to be successful, all you have to do is look at where you rank in comparison to your competition, right? We've never lived in a world where you can just look, right? Pre-2010, you would have to guess, like maybe my competitors are good at sales, maybe my guys are good at handing out door hangers. But right now we can look and see exactly where you rank compared to your competition. It's never been easier to know where you stand.
You know, another thing you guys do really, and again, I'm just hammering home this feeling the flow, the daily rhythm needed to be successful. You track the conversion rate or the tracking sheet. You might call it key performance indicators, or some people out there might call it your sales rate, your sales conversion percentages, your sales stats. There's all different nomenclature we could use. But the point is, you know how well your guys are doing. So when people go hire you at oxyfresh.com to clean the carpets for these different clients, you go to their home and you guys do carpet cleaning. You guys do a variety of services. You guys could clean the upstairs. You guys could clean the downstairs. You guys could clean the kitchen. You guys could clean the whole house. You guys could clean 2 rooms. You guys could clean all the rooms. There's a variety of ways to upserve the client or upsell the client or to provide them additional services. And that matters. You also have to figure out, what percentage of your technicians are gathering reviews and what percentage of the time are they not getting reviews. There's a lot of metrics. And if you don't have the discipline needed, or you choose not to have the discipline needed to track those daily stats, you can begin to drift. Talk about that for a second, because there are some wonderful OxyFresh franchise owners out there that track every day. And I'm sure there's nobody in the OxyFresh system. There's 500 plus territories open. I'm sure there's nobody in the system that doesn't check every day. But let's focus on the ones that do track those conversion numbers. Why is that important to track those conversion rate numbers every day?
Well, if you don't track them, you're not going to know if your marketing is successful. You're just going to look at your bank account at the end of the month and see if you're in the if you have money in there or you don't, right? I mean, and I think this is across the board to almost every small business owner. They might have intentions of doing these things, but they never get around to building the infrastructure needed to be able to pull a report, right? They don't know if they are paying, let's just say $500 on a pay-per-click ad on Google, if at the end of the month they make more than $500, right? Because they don't really have a way of tracking it. They're just saying, okay, I might spend money here, or I might spend money on Google Guaranteed, I might spend money on Facebook, but at the end of the day, they are guessing. And I would imagine that one of their campaigns, if they're successful, is doing really well, and another one is not, right? Being able to have that level of visibility and to say, okay, I spent 500, I made 3,500, that's a win. Or I spent 500 and I got 600, that's a loss, right? There's so much value really to your bottom line if you can actually adjust or cut bad marketing and spend that money in places where you're actually getting a return. And most people don't know that. They just say it's either working or it's not.
Again, folks, this is a proven system, oxyfresh.com, the world's highest rated and most reviewed carpet cleaning franchise, oxyfresh.com. And again, we're talking about this idea of the daily flow, feeling the flow, working it. Number 4, every day. Constant ongoing training. Matt, I have a haircut chain called Elephant in the Room. I'm involved in a dog training business. And let me tell you what I was doing today. And let me tell you what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Today, we have a beautiful teammate, great lady, wonderful lady, sharp guy on our team. I can picture right now. We have this new guy who just started, handsome young guy, sharp guy. I believe he's going to be successful. He says the right things. He looks sharp, looks the part. So I'm teaching him today how to manage one of our stores. I'm teaching him that. Have a young lady on our team. She knows how to cut hair, and I'm teaching her today how to actually pre-book herself. So when you cut hair, you want to be so good at cutting hair that people want to pre-schedule with you. But then once you do a great job cutting hair, you have to actually tell the customer, hey, I typically book out 3 to 4 weeks out. So I want to go ahead and get you pre-booked. And that way you never have to wait for me or find that I'm not available. And the front desk guy, the manager, although he's good at his job, he has to say, hey, by the way, if you want to pre-book with her, you'll need to go ahead and pre-book today. Therefore, you can get in with her. And by the way, sir, did you want to do a tip today for 15%, or did you have a different amount? And we have to role play that idea, Matt, of after you do the haircut, we have to role play over and over and over the routine of the stylist walks the customer up to the front and they say, thank you so much for coming here today. If you want to schedule with me again, I'd love to see you. I typically book 3 to 4 weeks out. Then the front desk guy goes, well, hey, did you want to leave a tip today of 15%, or what amount were you thinking? The customer says, and then you go, okay, well, typically our stylists book out 3 to 4 weeks in advance. Did you want to go ahead and pre-book? And Matt, there's like a routine, and we have to practice over and over and over until we can't get it wrong. We don't practice until we get it perfect. We practice until we can't get it wrong. We don't practice until we get it right. We practice until we can't get it wrong. We practice so much in their sleep, our employees can do these routine tasks. Talk to us about that, because I think there's a lot of wonderful people out there that are well-intentioned, but they hire a new employee, they hand them the handbook, and then they don't train.
Yeah. And well, I mean, if you don't give them that guidance, right? Let's just say you don't train your guy how to run the store, and you just say, hey, you know, I know you've got experience in management, you know, here's the store, you know, good luck, right? Think about the hurdles they're going to have, right? How do I open the door? How do I turn the alarm off, right? How do I log into the register? How do I actually book? How do I hire people? Like you're putting that person in a scenario where they are going to fail, right? And it's not even their fault. Like for them to be able to be successful, they're going to have to learn everything on their own with no tutelage from an expert. And that's, you know, the highest levels. I mean, I guarantee you, if someone gets a $10 million job at a Fortune 500 company, like someone's going to show them how to log into their email, right? Like even at that level, and because they don't know it. So if you are an owner of a company and you hire people and you have not installed somebody there to teach them to do everything, whatever you haven't touched them, your probability of having a problem or just complete failure goes through the roof, right? Like my guys go through an extreme amount of just hands-on training with my guys, and then they go through training with me, and then they go back in the field and they do their own thing, and then we go back to training, because if you don't understand what that person's failure points are, right, you're not going to be able to help them. Like some people might have great organizational skills, but they can't talk very, very well. Some people might talk very well, but they don't know how to use technology, right? So it's like, I would assume, like you are, is that guy is saying all the right things, right? But did you assume that they knew how to work all your internal systems? No, you assume that they don't, right?
You know, the thing we do, and I think that, Matt, you get it because you come from an athletic background as well. If you want your athletes to be good on their team at their given role, whether it be basketball, football, whatever, I mean, you have a plan, but then you got to practice till you can't get it wrong. And if you do it right, what'll happen is you get time freedom. So when your wife decided to have that beautiful baby, you as a couple decided to have that beautiful baby of yours, hopefully your life didn't descend into chaos during the days that you couldn't be in the office. And that's called time freedom and financial freedom. And that's really what the purpose of buying an OxyFresh is that you can still get paid even if you don't come to work every day, because you have a business that creates time and financial freedom for you. And that's why that final step, you always have to do that ongoing recruiting. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because there's a lot of people that if their wife had a baby and they couldn't go to work this week, there just would be no income. Talk about the value of having a franchise, a business in place that can create income for you, even when you're, with your wife celebrating the birth of your new baby.
Yeah, it really is something that is, I'm very proud of it, right? It took me a long time to get to a place where I am right now, where, while we're in the hospital and I'm not taking calls, and, my guys know that I'm doing that, like, those 2 weeks, they knew that they just had to take care of their stuff, right? Now, were we the most efficient ever? No. But the cool thing is on the third week, by the time I was going into the third week after my child was born, right? This is 14 days after. I'm still coming out of a freaking sleepless coma, right? Like we are struggling. I had the best week of my entire franchise life last week, right? And it's because all the work we did, all the organizational, all the Google reviews we did, all the hiring practices that we put into place, all the failures that I've had in the past, couple of years or however long since the beginning have all gotten fixed and changed. And so the evolution of my franchise all accumulated to this one point where it's like, I don't even care about my franchise, right? Like at the point of my life, this was happening at my life, like this little baby's the only thing. And so while that happened, like my business is functioning, that phones are being answered, my employees doing jobs, and we just so happen to have the best week of our entire life, our entire franchise, 2 weeks after my child was born. So the previous best weeks, my wife and I were in Greece, right? Different situation, but it did. I mean, we made a lot of money in a time where we were doing something else in 1 week. So yeah, I thought it was one of the cooler things that I've experienced in my working life for sure.
Now, again, folks, if you want to learn more about buying an OxyFresh franchise, I want to be very clear. It is one of the world's most affordable franchises. So you can learn more today by going to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. Thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. If you buy an OxyFresh, it's a proven turnkey system. They've got a history of success, very low startup costs, cutting edge technology, and a call center that handles the scheduling for you. A call center that handles the scheduling for you. Matt Klein, I'll give you the final word during the final 30 seconds. What do people need to do if they want to learn more about buying an OxyFresh.com franchise?
Yeah, I would say just get out of your own way. Get rid of the assumptions. Most people think that they have to quit their job. Most people think that they have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'd say if you have any interest in being self-sufficient and financially free and getting more time, even if it means you got to put a few years ahead of that, you know, while maintaining a job or doing the semi-absentee, the hurdle that I see most people have is that they don't know this is a possibility. They do not know they can run a business right now. They do not know much about franchising. They do not know that there's companies out there like us that will help you fill in the gaps of some of your maybe inconsistencies or misunderstanding of small business, right? So I'd say go on, fill out the form. We'll talk about it. We'll understand each other, what you're trying to do and what we're capable of. And at the end of that, if it doesn't work, it just costs a little bit of time, right? And so it's a really good practice to understand. It might even set you up for later in life when you want to run a company, but just the understanding that there are options out there that will fit the mold of where you're currently at in your life, even though you may not think that. That's why I would do that if I were people that weren't in my situation.
Matt Klein, thank you for carving out time for us. Thank you for standing up for today's interview. People might not know this. Matt Klein's one of the shortest people in American history. He stands at 2 foot 4 inches tall while standing. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you for standing up for today's interview. And thanks for not sitting down, because if you were sitting down, it'd be hard to see us. So thank you for standing up for today's interview, Matt. And we'll talk to you soon.
My name's Nick Holman. I'm with Holman's Custom Cabinets. I want to tell you about our Dream 100 marketing system that we started with Clay Clark through the coaching program. We've increased our repeat clients, our repeat builders that we work for, and we've got a lot more potential for growth since then. And it's very scalable. And I've taken this young boy that I started this with, an 18-year-old guy who is my Dream 100 marketing guy, who's just making phone calls, taking donuts, taking cookies out to new contractors and clients to try to reach them to making repeat sales with them. And I had a lot of concerns just at first with trying to maybe train somebody to do this. We had a repeatable process, a script for him to call. He's doing that over and over. He calls anywhere from 200 to 300 people a week. It's been over 3,000 calls since the first of the year. And sometimes he's kind of switched over into sales because we had so many sales coming in that he had to help handle those sales and take away from the Dream 100 marketing because of that. We've been doing it about 7 months. It took about 2 to 3 months for us to break even, to hit the break even point. And from the 3 to 6 month mark, 3 to 7 months now, we've got a 300% return on my investment. Now, I'm paying this young man, this 18-year-old boy, a salary and then a 5% commission on these jobs, and he's just literally been killing it. And we've increased our profit by 8%, increased our sales by 10%, and these are repeatable. Most of them are repeatable clients, new contractors that I'm doing repeat business on. Some of them I've sold 4 to 5 jobs to since January when we started this. And it's been a 335.6% return for this campaign. And we've spent about a little over $30,000 and made over $100,000 in gross profits. But just this last week alone, this Dream 100 process, we sold right at $65,000 in sales just from this Dream 100 process. And I can't explain enough how much of a blessing it's been and how well it works. I'd encourage you to start doing it soon. Thanks.
All right, Thrive Nation. I know that a lot of you watching this show on a consistent basis or listening to the show have a business or have aspirations to grow a business. And if you're not careful, your business can own you rather than you owning your business. You might find yourself at a place and space where you work all the time and you have no time freedom, although you earn financial freedom. And I know for anybody out there that's never owned a business before, the idea of achieving financial freedom itself may be very exciting. But if you achieve financial freedom and you don't have any time to enjoy that, the question is, what was the point? And so on today's show, we're going to be joined here with an actual thriver, an actual longtime client who's been able to achieve a time freedom to build a sustainable schedule that he loves. And here to share the story is Nick Holman. Nick, welcome to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Thank you for having us.
Hey, Nick, what's your website for anybody out there who wants to verify you're not a hologram?
HolmansCabinets.com, HOLMAN.
Okay, HolmansCabinets.com?
Yes, sir.
And where are you based there, sir?
We're in Sparta, Tennessee. We cover the Middle Tennessee area.
And how long have you been in that area?
We've been here nearly 40 years. My dad started the company when I was just a little kid.
Awesome. And so you did your dad kind of mentor you in the ways of cabinetry?
He did. I grew up from a little kid doing the business. I didn't plan on doing it, didn't want to, but it ended up that way, and I really enjoy it. The Lord's really blessed me.
Now, how did you initially hear about us and what we do in terms of growing businesses?
I was listening to a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire, and
cool.
Heard you interviewed on there and just sought you out.
Well, you know, one thing that we've had a pleasure of working with you on and so we've enjoyed is we here at the Thrivetime Show, we call them diligent doers is who we work with. People that, frankly, are hardworking and all they want to know is, what do I need to do? The best way I would describe it, or kind of analogous way, would be if you're going to the grocery store. We've all been to the grocery store where there's somebody at the store who has no intention of buying anything. We've all been to the mall where we've seen somebody who doesn't want to buy anything. They're just hanging out. And there's a lot of people that kind of view entrepreneurship like that. They're entrepreneurs. And there's other people that actually are entrepreneurs. They actually implement. We call those diligent doers. And Sean's had the pleasure of working with you.
Oh, yeah.
And Sean, so tell listeners out there, what kind of big improvements have you and Nick worked together to implement within the company HolmansCabinets.com?
Yeah. So I've actually had the pleasure of working with Nick for several months here, but he has worked with several different consultants in our program. Yep. So by the time I got to him, I'm just going, hey man, what is your biggest limiting factor? And at the time he's saying, I'm pretty close to this ideal schedule, but there's about 15 hours on my schedule of stuff that I don't feel like I can delegate, but I'm kind of stuck there. So it's been probably 3 months or so, Nick, that we've been working at trying to get those hours off your schedule. It was more of a high level task that we systemized week by week, working on training employees and refining the system itself. And that's now resulted in Nick having that time back to use for other things.
Now, Nick, before we worked with you, how would you describe where the business was at?
I was all over the place, very, very busy. I worked about 80 to 90 hours a week, never home, running, doing jobs, working late at night at home with my laptop, drawing cabinet jobs, quoting cabinet jobs, and just really had no free time whatsoever.
And so now how would you describe your schedule versus how it was then?
A little bit laid back. I've even found myself bored a time or two, and that doesn't last long. I've always can find something to do, but I'm looking at other business ventures, which I'm into different things and excited about that, and have a little bit more time with my family. Of course, I love that free time. I've got 4 children the Lord's blessed me with, and some time to do ministry work that God's allowed me to do. And all of this is because of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But I just thank him. Thank y'all for the time that I've gotten back to be able to do that. And it just frees up so much time, the time freedom. I don't nearly need it financially, but the time is invaluable.
So if you could describe for anybody out there that's listening, what was the process like that we've kind of guided you through? What are some of the improvements that you've made in the business?
Well, the first thing y'all did, of course, was the website, and you started encouraging me to get Google reviews. We're the highest rated cabinet shop in the state of Tennessee now.
Come on now.
And it's just been a blessing to see people call and they say, well, I said, how do you find us? Well, we seen your reviews. They're just unbelievable. The video reviews. And then also me training, I guess the last few months is hiring and training new people. I did not think that I could ever get anyone to replace a lot of what I was doing in measuring and learning all the different options of cabinets, appliances, the different ins and outs on different houses, different ins and outs of different cabinet options, with whether it was custom or prefab or semi-custom, all of those different things. I didn't think I could train anyone, and it's been possible to do that. And now I've got 2 guys that are doing that. It's just really relieved a lot of my time. The hiring, the group interviews, doing that has really been helpful. Delegating and being able to train and writing down a process of how they can go through and learn what I'm doing. And it answers a lot of their questions before they ever have to ask me. With what we've written down, I can't think of the term of it right now, the schedule and how they're to do that. It's just made it so much easier.
So let's talk about the branding for a second. When we first started working with you, did you already have a website in place, or did our team have to help you with that? Or
we did have a website. We redesigned it and made it much more Google canonical, where Google could read it better. And of course, the reviews and all that, and y'all are writing on the back of it all the time. And it's been a lot more profitable when people look up our website all over Nashville now, even in that we're almost 2 hours away. Yeah. People call us all the time from Nashville, Brentwood, Franklin. And then even in our areas, it's constant because of our website.
And before we started working with you, how many web leads would you get maybe in a given month versus how many are you getting now?
I'll look up off the top of my head. I don't know, but I know that, I don't know, we're getting on average 8 to 10 a week now. I probably got 1 to 2 a week before.
So maybe 4 or 5 times more leads.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at the tracking sheet before we hopped on here, and it's actually this year, 34% of all of your leads have come from that. So that's a significant amount. Yeah.
Now, what we try to do on the Thrivetime show is for anybody out there that goes to thrivetimeshow.com and you click on the testimonials button, no exaggeration. I'm just going to show this here. We have over 2,000 client success stories on video. So if you go back and watch some of these people, you'll go, wow, that was 10 years ago. Wow, that was 5 years ago. Wow, that was 6 years ago. And the reason why we do that is it inspires confidence in potential buyers. Somebody watching this show today might go, well, you know what? This seems credible. The second is we want to build the faith of an entrepreneur, not in a religious sense, in a biblical sense, but the faith that they can do it. How has that aspect, the coaching or the mentorship, helped, having somebody that is showing you, hey, this is a proven path. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. We've been coaching clients since before search engine optimization was a big thing. Now we're doing it now that search engine is a big thing. We did it before social media was a big thing. Now that it is a big thing, we're still doing it. How does it help? How has it helped you knowing that you're following a proven path and not moving just off of guesswork?
It's been tremendous. Just having a plan. I can follow a plan if that plan's laid out. And you could see that. I could see that with other people. You had another cabinet shop that was doing the same thing, I think, in North or South Carolina you were working with. I seen that, and I thought, I can do this. And then having that same plan from learning from y'all, taking the same thing and being able to teach my guys in much the same way. And they're picking up on it and learning it. And it's teaching one that's teaching another. And it's passing that along. It's been tremendous.
Now we've worked on the online reputation, online reputation enhancement, gathering Google reviews, video reviews on your site. One thing that's been nice, and I've heard about this through the coaches, is you guys do a good job. And it turns out that matters. And I hate to say this, but I've worked with a lot of restaurants in the past where when we start, we go into I have a proven process I take people through. So if somebody schedules a 13-point assessment with me, I hop on the phone call with them, just like I did with you there, Nick. And I try to go over, okay, I want to ask them, what kind of revenue did you do last year? What kind of revenue did you do the year before? How would you rate your website on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best? How would you rate your branding? How would you rate your accounting? We go through all these systems. And I've worked with a lot of restaurants who've said, the one thing though, is our food's terrible. And, so when people show up, they typically leave mad or upset. And you guys have always done a great job. And we would call that the quality control loop. And so when we go to your website here, you guys have gathered testimonials. How has having video testimonials from actual clients impacted you?
When people call all the time, they say your testimonials are unbelievable. And that helps set us apart from all the other shops that don't have that. And I'm friends with a lot of the other shop owners, and we do 10 times more than most shops around us. Yep. I think it's due to the reviews. It's due to the testimonials. They can look us up and see that we're credible. Some of my workers came on board because of the reviews, and they saw the credibility that we had among other people. And they wanted to be a part of the team because of the great work and the satisfied clients that we have.
Now, if we go to the bottom of your website, we do ongoing search engine optimization for you, which is kind of a big task that if we do it right, no one knows we're doing it. It's kind of like pulling the weeds in a garden. I see so many inspired patriots. They say, Clay, I planted a garden. I was so inspired by your wife. Woo! And then I'll see them, a couple months later, and I'll say, how's the garden? They go, don't talk about it. Didn't weed it. Didn't feed it. It's dead. Going with the rock garden, baby. A rock garden. So there's an ongoing pruning that we have to run the online ads for you, manage that. We have to get the search engine going on optimization. Then we have to track what we're doing on a weekly basis and track. How has tracking implemented you, just knowing that all these things are happening behind the scenes?
Well, you can continually see where you're at and what you need to improve on. And what you're doing well at, and see how it's growing. It's just, I love the numbers. I love to see the numbers and see how you can track that. And it just continues to increase, or say, hey, I need to work here on this area because we're having some problems in this area. And that helps you to see that and what you need to work on. And that's what Sean's really helped me to do each week. And he points those things out to me. And, but it's easy to fix once you know what the issue is. But if you don't know it, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to work on.
Now, one thing that blew my mind years ago is I had a chance to interview the NBA Hall of Famer and fellow Christian, David Robinson. And David Robinson was jacked. And if you're watching this show and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to pull up this video here, pull up this photo. He was so jacked. He was so physically fit. And do you remember this?
Yeah. If you Google David Robinson jacked.
David Robinson just jacked. I mean, this guy he was huge. And I remember talking to Dave off camera and then some on camera. I'm like, Dave, how did you know, that it was time to retire? Like, how did you know? I mean, it was time to go. When did you know it was time to go ahead and retire? And he said, Clay, I was hitting the weights every day at the peak of my career. I mean, every day. He's like, I'm in the gym, never cheating on my diet, following my diet, always hitting the weights, just
those guns.
It's the consistency. And it wasn't that he had this super complicated workout program. It's the consistency. And the Bible speaks to this a lot. It's called Proverbs 10:4. For anybody out there that hasn't read the Bible in a while, Proverbs 10:4 says, he who has a slack hand becometh poor, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. And that's the one thing that I have found over the years that I cannot really train. I can show people, but today I woke up at 3:00, came into the office about 5:30 today after organizing my day, hopped into our staff meeting at 6:00, and it's every single day. Can you talk a little bit about the diligence of maybe having a coach, if that has helped you, or as far as, or maybe your dad taught that to you, or just a consistency of putting in the work every day?
Yeah, my dad did teach it to me. I wasn't raised in church or anything like that. And literally, my dad worked 7 days a week. We had a cattle farm with at one time, 500 head of cattle, the cabinet shop, and we had a tree nursery. So literally, Dad worked this 7 days a week. And so I grew up with that diligence and just have brought that into my work life. And I enjoy work. Work is fun. I'm very hyper and energetic. And I'm always doing something. My mind never shuts down, so it's hard to sleep sometimes. And so just being a diligent doer, which is a biblical principle I've carried over into my work life. And even in other businesses, the Lord's truly blessed because of that. But sometimes, that can go the wrong direction too much if you're if you're too busy in the areas you don't need to be in. But all of this helps to organize that and to free up some time where you're not too involved in that. And I've been told all my life, you don't have to spend so much time in work and you can balance that out. Well, this has helped me balance that out because there was no way I could have kept going the way I was and it ever worked out. It's freed up so much of my time and allowed me to have really a more balanced life, to be more biblical in my life as a husband and as a father, as a Christian, as a church member. It's helped me to balance my life in every area.
So it could be safe to say you're getting, 5 times more leads and working 5 times less.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's pretty powerful. That's a pretty powerful success story. Now, have you guys started documenting all the checklists and systems on the back end of the website yet? Is that something you guys have tackled yet?
No, but that's something that's coming right up here. Just getting them all organized on the website for the employees to be able to access those systems.
Well, I would just say this, just housekeeping note. Mm-hmm. When we hop off here, maybe you guys can hop on a call real quick. Okay. I'd love to book a 13-point assessment with you just to touch base on a few things. Because what's happening is a lot of our clients, I'll just give the listeners an example. This would be a Tip Top Canine, and they are a franchise, and they're a client that I've helped to franchise. And I think they have 16 locations open maybe now. I'm probably getting that wrong. Maybe it's 17 now. But they're all over the country. They've got different locations on the Tip Tops. And one of the things that has to happen is as the company begins to grow, it's, we have to come up with a system to organize the systems. To organize all the documents so that everybody can find them. Mm-hmm. And there's so many core documents they've made over the years. And it's like, we've got to be able to find those quickly. If someone's looking for the system for how to train a German Shepherd, or how to write up an employee, or how to find the core values document, or how to find the goal sheets, or how to find the insurance processes, or the intake checklist, or the boot camp checklist, or the closing progression, or the sales manual. We have all those documents organized in one place, and that really does help. And so we get off, I'd love to book a time.
Yeah.
So you and I can hop on a call and we'll talk about kind of phase 2.0 as we take you from time freedom to maybe opening up multiple locations or scaling or whatever it is that you want to do. But thank you for carving out time for us today. Sure. And for anybody out there that's listening, who's contemplating scheduling a free consultation by going to thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. That's thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, or thinking about coming to one of our in-person business workshops. What would you say to them?
I would encourage you to do so immediately. It would free up your time and give you more freedom. I'd encourage them to contact Clay Clark, Sean, Thrivetime Show, and come to one of those business meetings.
And I will say this too, housekeeping note, a final note here. Our consulting at $1,700 a month. So everybody out there listening say, what do you guys charge? It's $1,700 a month, 1,700 per month. It's all month to month. And we have business conferences, and we have VIP tickets and general admission tickets, and we make it affordable for everybody. And we have scholarship tickets so everybody can afford to go. Thank you so much for carving out time here. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon. Take care, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Great job.
You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrivetime Business Coach Radio Show.
Yes, and yes, Dr. Z, we have a hot question in here from the Thrive Nation. A hot question. Andrew, this is a hot question.
It's hot.
Andrew, you know how hot this question is?
Pretty darn hot.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Step into the business coach saunas.
That's right.
Lover. Okay, no, here's the question.
I wonder why it was hot in here.
Whoa. The question from the Thriver was, how do you deal with a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day? And how often do you guys have these? So we're going to go around the horn. We have Paul Hood, a CPA with thousands of clients on the show. We've got Dr. Z here on the show. We've got myself. So let's go around the horn. Let's go around the horn and let's talk about it. So Z, how often do you have the things, the variables, the bad things happen to you that some would consider to be, you're a positive guy, so you don't let it get you down. But how often do things happen to you where it would be easy to say, wow, that was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day?
short of resetting my watermark, as I call it, there was a period of my life that I had a series of very unfortunate things happen to me and my family and my business. And that was pretty much my high watermark of stress and bad day. So, once you kind of reset that watermark pretty high, it was a pretty high one for me that time. Everything else you put in perspective and go, well, compared to that day, it's not so bad.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Oh, could be worse, don't you know?
Could be worse.
In Minnesota, by the way, if you ask anyone how they're doing, you have about a 40% chance that they will respond with, "Oh, it could be worse."
Could be worse.
No matter what, no matter what's going on, that's about the peak of the optimism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could be worse. But what I do is this: a lot of times, depending upon what category it's in and how to process it, it can be pretty daunting. It can be pretty debilitating. And if you don't get on top of it with your brain pretty quickly, it can kind of really shut you down for a little while. But when you have a really, really bad day, one thing that I like to do is I like to think about all the positives in my life. I like to pray also and be thankful for all the positive things in my life. I'll just go through a checklist of all the home runs, all the games won, all those positive memories in your life.
You go back home and look at that
make some
big
apple
fat
pie,
head of you, the full-size photo of you, and go, well done.
That's the only head I know that's bigger than yours, by the way. It's a big head thing.
I don't think it's that big.
What?
I mean, my head, do I wear a size 14 hat size? Is that what it is? 14 and 3/4?
I thought it was 18 and a half.
18 and a half. Okay, nice.
Well, you were like your hat's loose. You're right. But I think what the key is that you have to understand that if you're in control of your joy, and this is a word for everybody listening out there, if you're in control of your joy, then nothing can take it away from you. Nothing can take away your happiness. If you're waiting for something to make you happy, you're doing the wrong thing. And if you let something make you unhappy, you're doing the wrong thing. So you need to be in control of your joy. You need to be in control. If it's a bad day, how are you going to fix it? Is there a problem that needs to be fixed? Or is it just a bad day? But if there's a problem that needs to be fixed, then I go into problem-solving mode. Step 1, what do I need to do? Step 2, what do I need to do? Step 3, what do I need to do? Oh, and by the way, I'm really thankful because I've got, 3 healthy children. I'm really thankful that I've got, all these things I'm thankful for.
I'd like to get Paul's take on this because, Paul, you manage a team of employees.
Yes, sir.
And your core team at your 3 offices, how many people approximately are we talking about? Between the 3 offices, that because you have other offices and locations, you're always expanding, but maybe between Bartlesville, Tulsa, Claremore, how many people are we talking about?
Well, we have a total of probably about 40 employees, but my key group is probably 12 or so.
So let's think about our 12. Let's think about your 12. So you think about your core 12. I'll think about my core 12 for a second. It seems as though there's always something going on in the lives of one of those 12 people,
right? Because
there's 12 people. There's so many people. There's always something. Now, Z, with the team of like 50, there's usually 2 or 3 bad things happening every day between those 50.
Unfortunately,
and with thousands of customers, there seems to be usually, if you have 1,000 customers that you provide service for a month, if you're awesome, you have like a 1 or 3% complaint rate. So think about that. Elephant in the room, Paul. We have 4,000 members, and Z, if we make a mistake with somebody's hair, even only 2% of the time, that's 80 bona fide complaints a month.
Sure.
So we had a guy shadow me from Minnesota, and I remember him saying this. He goes, "How many complaints do you get a day?"
Did he say it could have been worse?
Well, this is really funny. He goes, "How many do you get a day?" And I said, "Like 3." He goes, 3? I said, "Yeah. I mean, they only get to me if they're like next level." But he goes, "Just for that business?" And I said, yeah. He's like, so you get like, how many complaints, a month? I said,
do the math.
Dozens. I mean, you know what I mean? And you start, but he goes, I don't think I could handle that. And it was very good for him to like know that he emotionally could. And I said, why not? He goes, it bothers me. Like if I get a bad review, it'll bother me for like a month.
Which is unfortunate.
So I want to ask you this, Paul, with your clients, you do your best to serve your clients. I know you want to do your best. But if, for whatever reason, like our haircut business, we make a mistake 2% of the time, or if there's a misunderstanding or whatever, how do you process that when a customer's frustrated? How do you emotionally and mentally process it when your business, occasionally misses the mark like my business does, and I think any business does?
Well, Clay, just like anything, you have to separate real issues with fake issues. You have a family member die. That's something that there's not a lot of positive that comes out of that. But most business issues or complaints or bad things, really what I try to do is embrace that and accept that and appreciate that as a learning experience. Because, if you've got if you've got an issue, it's kind of like, let's say you're driving down the road and you have your family in the car, and the car starts sputtering and everything, and you can get really upset. But the reality is maybe that sputtering helps save you from having a wreck. And so the way I look at things is I try to find the positive in it, and I try not to get real upset and just try to say, well, this is something that's strengthening of my team. It's a learning opportunity. It's an opportunity to fix something. I'm a registered investment advisor and a personal financial specialist, and I get audited every year by, a government entity or whatever. And I embrace that, because if I'm not doing something to the best of our abilities or missing something, I want to know. I don't think and so if I've got a client that complains, and honestly, and I don't say this to be mean, 2/3 of the complaints are really not valid. But it doesn't really matter, because marketing to me is top of mind. It's how that person feels when they walk out of my office and what they're going to say to other people. And so the old adage, the customer is always right, is kind of right. But I embrace it. I approach it head on. I personally make the phone call. And what can I do to solve this, to make you feel better, to make you happy? And it doesn't really matter whether it's a valid complaint or not. It's a complaint. And so, I was taught a long time ago, do I want to be right or do I want to be rich? So I'd rather be rich than argue with a client all the time. I just wanted to make them happy.
I have found for me, and I want to get your take on this. I've got a few notable quotables I want to read to you.
Okay.
From the first one will be from that controversial book known as the Bible. In the Bible, Matthew 5:10. I love that verse. Matthew 5:10 says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of their righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So, blessed are those who are persecuted for being right. All right. So here's an example. You have an employee that works for you, Z, and they're supposed to be on time, and they're not. So your job as the owner, manager, whatever, is to bring it up. You say, hey, Doug, I need you to be on time, and Doug goes, "Oh, come on, come
on, man."
Yeah. What? And there's this blow up,
Yes.
And you would some people attack you when you call them out for being right. You hold them accountable.
Oh, I know.
So I think part of it is just embracing that if you're going to hold people accountable, AKA run a business, you just have to get really good with knowing that a lot of people won't be happy with you all the time, right? I mean, don't you have to get to a place where you just say, hopefully there's a reward in heaven, because I'm certainly, you know what I mean? Blessed are those who are persecuted because of their righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. I mean, you have to just go, well, hopefully there's a reward up there, because, whoa.
Well, I like the reward could be in the bank statement, because all of a sudden you're cracking the whip and you're making your business run better.
Right.
But for everybody listening out there, if you're thinking about, we know 67% of you are, according to Forbes, that is our business Bible, by the way. Not taking anything away from the actual Bible, but that's the business Bible.
Business Bible, yeah.
What happens is that if you go into this owning a business with the idea that you only get to wear the white hat, you only get to be the good cop,
you're going to lose.
Yeah. At times you got to put on the black hat. At times you got to be the bad cop. At times you got to call people out, and you've got to correct them. And pruning and correction is good.
Yeah, Clay, don't you agree though that it's kind of like raising kids? You can be a lazy parent and let them play in the street because you don't want to upset them and correct them. The same thing applies with employees. If you hold them accountable, that's actually good for them. It's good for your business. It's good for your other employees, but it's good for them. When you're not holding them accountable, you're accepting their slackery, and therefore it's bad for them, and they're never going to achieve and reach their potential.
I think about our office and just people on my team, but there's a guy on our team named Matt. And Matt always says, how can I get better? At least he does that to me. Yeah. He says, how can I get better? So I give him the same information as I might give somebody else, the same coaching, and he says, thank you.
Thank you.
How can I get better? But I think a lot of bosses feel like they're being a bad guy, quote unquote. I hate to be the bad guy, but just by telling somebody, hey, you need to follow the script. Right. Hey, you need to show up on time.
This is what I'm paying you to do.
And they feel bad about holding someone accountable because they're the bad guy. You're not the bad guy. You're the right guy. You're the righteous guy. Here's another thought. Robert Greene, the best-selling author of the book called Mastery, best-selling book called Mastery, he writes, the most effective attitude to adopt is one of supreme acceptance. The world is full of people with different characters and temperaments. Some people have really dark qualities that are especially pronounced. You cannot change such people at their core, but merely But you must merely avoid becoming their victim. Do you agree with that, Z?
Absolutely. People change seldom. It's one of my core things. And if they're a bad apple, they're typically going to be a bad apple. And instead of sitting there worrying about trying to life coach them into being a good apple, just get them out of your space.
The quote that Z gave me years ago was so good. I love this quote. I'm going to high five you. This would set me free.
Okay, high five.
This is a good quote. High five. You said to me, Clay, unless you're a life coach, don't life coach him. And I was going, whoa. Because that's where I was at for a long time as a young man. I kept trying to fix everybody.
How many businesses have you coached over the years where the owner comes up to you and they've got a bad apple working for them? And they refuse to fire them because they just know they can. It's maybe poor management. It's poor people skills on their part. They know that reflect the fault back on them.
I would say it's 2/3 of what prevents businesses from growing.
Yeah,
is the inability of the owner to hold people accountable. The complete refusal to hold people accountable. And as we get back into this root topic of how to deal with the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I've got a couple quick tips here for you, and I'm going to give them to you. One is there was a Joel Osteen quote from the book called The Best Life Now that set me free here.
Okay.
It says, live your best life now. He says, do your best and forget the rest, and just give God the stress. So for me as a Christian, I go,
there you go.
I did my best. Okay, God, if you want me to be like going through this whole Job phase of my life right now, if this is like some teaching part of the Bible where I'm getting punished or something, let that happen. If not, whatever. But I used to, once I just realized you do your best and forget the rest, that helped me a lot. Probably because it rhymed.
Well, that's a rapper coming out of you right there.
But it helped me just to know you do your best and forget the rest. And now I don't care at all. I don't care if somebody's not happy and I did my best. I just don't care.
I don't care.
But I used to care a lot.
Don't you think a lot of that, though, comes from your core values of what's important in life? We make good money.
Yeah.
But it's not about the money. I grew up, I've lived in trailer parks. Nobody on either side of my family graduated high school besides my mom and I. I can be happy living in a trailer park. Not that there's anything wrong with a trailer park. The point is, it's not the money, and I have confidence in myself to rebuild. If something falls apart, I'm going to do my best, and if other people can run along with me, great. But the reality is I'm going to be happy regardless.
So this is what I want you to do right now. This is what I want you to do. This is the action item for all the listeners out there. So here we go.
Okay.
If somebody out there, if you're having something bad happen to you today, tomorrow, in the next 10 minutes, whatever, if something bad happens, I want you to do this thing called the 5-minute rule. This is the rule I live by.
All right.
I try to do, I'd say by 99% of the time I do it.
Okay.
Don't make any decisions ever when mad.
Okay, that's good.
Like,
that's
don't
good
make a decision.
Good.
Just do not make a decision when mad.
Okay.
Then during those 5 minutes, think about the decision you're going to make. How will it affect you a year from now? Will it affect you?
Okay.
So as an example, when I went in the other day to a local fast food restaurant and they totally jacked up my order, you know why I didn't freak out, Z?
Because you did the 5-minute rule.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
5 years from now, it doesn't matter. I don't care. The other day I was in a parking lot at Atwood's, and a guy cut me off.
You spent a lot of time at Atwood's.
Well, a guy cut me off with the big monster truck wheel thing, and he gives me the stink eye. And I get out of my car, and he's like following me into the store with the stink eye. You know why I didn't say anything to him? Because it doesn't matter. It's the 5-minute rule.
Big monster truck.
I'm not gonna make a decision while I'm mad. I don't want to get beat up in the parking lot of Atwood's so that I can right
go
the
give
wrongs.
me that shovel I was telling you about.
So next time you get upset, take 5 minutes. Think about that. If it's a bigger decision, if it's a big purchase, don't go buy things when you're angry. Just don't take big action when you're angry. I promise your life will be better if you have more of a long-term perspective to everything. And that is how you deal with a no good, terrible day. That's if you're out there today and you're having something bad in your life, don't make it worse by making immediate action while angry. Don't make it worse.
Yeah, when you find yourself in a hole.
You know what they say. See a broad to get that booty yak 'em, leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em.
Stop the digging.
And now, without any further ado, we like to end each and every show with a boom. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow is going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We've had the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Herbert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what you're saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say.
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, "Have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?" And I said, "No." And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed, to the business owner, to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, "I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this."
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.